Hello, my name is Jaden Smith, and I'm here with Duane Knecht, the men's diving coach. How are you today?
Pretty good.
So, what got you into diving to begin with?
Well, when we first moved into Greenfield, I moved to town with my family in 1979. Shortly after that, the Riley Pool opened up, and there was a high school diver that was one of the lifeguards. And during breaks, I would see him diving, and I thought, that was pretty cool. And then shortly after that was the 1980 Olympics, and watching that on TV, Greg Louganis, who was a gold medalist for the United States, kind of caught my attention and thought, that'd be a pretty cool sport to be a part of.
So he was kind of like your inspiration.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what's your coaching regimen for the team?
Like a daily practice. Starts right after school. We usually get everybody stretching, for the first 15 minutes of practice. And then just a warm up. Once they've learned the dives, usually we're doing 4 or 5 of each dive every day in practice. We've got a trampoline with a spotting belt over it where we use to learn a lot of new dives. We have a spotting belt actually hanging over one of the diving boards as well. So when they're learning new dives, it's just a safety apparatus to keep them safe away from the board.
Do you have any other coaching background other than Greenfield?
No, I was an athlete for 11 years in diving, and had a few years away from it after I graduated from college. And then Greenfield was my first coaching job.
And then, looking at back of any of the records, do you see any of them being broken?
They were both set, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, for the boys and the girls. They're pretty good records. Records are made to be broken. I think it might be a few years, just looking at who's on the team now and some of the junior high kids. But hopefully they'll get broken.
Do you see any of them, do they have maybe have potential to do it?
Everybody's got that shot. It's just how hard do you want to work at it.
And then with Ben Rader and Cheyenne Milne, do you see the records? Like how good were they?
They both, I think Ben ended up, I think 9th at state, which is placing. Top 16 is placing at state.
That's great.
He went to state 3 years in a row. Cheyenne, I think, went 3 years in a row. I think her best place was 13th. They both went on to college and dove. At least Cheyenne for a short while till injuries kind of knocked her out. But Ben dove at University of Indianapolis. Actually, both of them dove at the University of Indianapolis. So they're strong records, but everything can be broken.
And then, how do you inspire your team to be ready against a top rival or a top team?
Well, a lot of times, I've been around the sport long enough. We know the teams that we compete against year in and year out. Same schools are at our sectionals and regionals. So we track the good divers that we're always eyeing to beat. We'll follow some of their scores throughout the year just to kind of see, and we run into them in some invitationals throughout the year too. But we know where we have goals at the beginning of the year where we know, hey, we want to make it to regionals or to state, and we know who we have to beat. So we kind of use that as kind of our inspiration of, you got to keep working hard every day.
What kind of practices would you use to be ready for them?
Really, it's repetition in diving. You can't just come in and do a dive, 2 dives a day on all your dives. You got to do 4, 5, 6 of them. And consistency is where, you might miss a dive in a meet, but if you're a consistent diver overall, if the rest of your dives are consistent, you just got to block out that one dive you missed. And so really just repetition and practice is big in diving. Constantly practicing those same dives.
What are some huge wins or upsets have you had over teams or certain divers over the years?
Some huge wins, for me and the team. I think it was around 2016. I only had 5 divers between the boys and the girls, and out of those 5, 3 of them went to the state meet.
Oh, wow.
And then the following year, one of them graduated, and I had a younger one come up, and I had 3 that year make it to state. Now I had 7 divers that year, but you know, the first year is more than half my team. I got them to state. In those 2 years, there was only one other school in the state of Indiana that had 3 divers from that school at the state meet, and we were one of the 2.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a big win for the team as well as, you know, the school.
Yeah.
So
like, what during your coaching here, what has like your success been with like regional, sectional, state?
Well, to start at conference, I've had 11 conference champions. Just had one just a couple weeks ago. Gabe Hall was the boys conference champ. That's his 2nd year in a row. I've had 6 sectional champions, 1 regional champion, and I've had about 18 different boys and girls make it to state. And of those 18, 6 of them actually placed at state, which means the top 16.
Yeah, that's
so
really good.
yeah, Greenfield's we've had a strong diving program for quite some time.
Yeah. So, what do you have to say for like people that want to dive?
You've got to. It's diving's a very mental sport, and you have to. If you don't like heights, you don't like, you know, you're basically jumping in the air and doing multiple somersaults. A lot of kids have to overcome the fear of smacking, potentially hitting the board. Every diver, Olympians smack probably in practice, you know, several times. It just happens. You got to learn your spotting. So it's a hard sport to learn, but if you can't get mind over matter, you know, getting yourself to try something, you're probably not going to be a very good diver. You know, if you're not going to make yourself do things that you feel uncomfortable doing. I mean, if you're going from a double to a 2.5, you know, you can do a double, but you're training for a 2.5. It's staying in that somersault. Now you got to land on your head. So there's a lot of mental side of diving.
Well, that's all I have for you. Thank you, Mr. Knecht,
Mm-hmm.
and thank you for watching.